Hey family, welcome back to Supreme by Sarah Pearl podcast. I am your host, Sarah Pearl, and thank you for tuning in. I'm so excited to get into this topic today. But before I do, hello to my new listeners. I'm so glad that you guys are using this resource as a tool to help you along your personal development journey. Now, if you're not already, please tap into my social media. I am on YouTube and I am on Facebook at Supreme by Sarah Pearl. You can follow me on Facebook and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And then you can also subscribe or follow my personal pages, which is Sarah Pearl Thomas on Facebook and Sarah Pearl Thomas on Instagram. Okay, so with that being said, Supreme by Sarah Pearl is dedicated to your personal development journey. We are here to help you along the process. Okay, we don't have all the answers for you. We don't advertise that we have all the answers for you, because all the answers you need are within yourself. Okay, we are here to help you pull those answers out, okay, and help you to put life into perspective so that you can progress into your God-given purpose and who God created you to be. So let's get into it, guys, okay? So the other day, I was literally folding clothes and I started thinking about comparison, like this comparison game, okay? And how much I despise it. Comparison is it robs you of so many things. It robs you of like the beauty of who you are, and then also it robs you of the significance of where you are. I am comparison's victim. I will openly say that. But my thought process on this, as I was folding clothes, my thought process on it led me to a different place than where it usually leads me. So, usually when someone talks about this, they're like, "Oh, you can't compare yourself to someone else because, their journey is different from yours, and you're not them, and you don't know what goes on behind closed doors, and so you definitely don't need to compare yourself to them." So that's usually where it goes, which is all very true. But I find it interesting how the conversation only goes toward self comparing itself to other who is seemingly superior to you in one area of life or another. But we never discuss how we compare self to other who is seemingly inferior. Did you catch that? So we're open about like, oh man, sometimes I compare myself to so-and-so. I think she's doing great. I think he has achieved this, whatever. But we never talk about how we compare ourselves to someone who is seemingly in a worse place than us. Okay? You tracking? Okay. But isn't that how like the comparison game works? Like in order for someone to be better, this someone has to be lesser, right? That's the way it works, right? So my thoughts on this topic was convicting. It was self-convicting more than it was like a pleasant realization. I wish it was just a pleasant realization. It really convicted me. That is what I mean when I say, okay, because I say this all the time. You have to be willing to ask yourself the tough questions along this journey, because that is where a lot of your personal growth stems from. This topic right here convicted me, and I'm not just saying that to say that just because I'm recording this. It required me to look at myself and say, Sarah, who do you compare yourself to that you think is not doing as great as you are? Okay, that is a tough question to ask yourself, because it shines a light on your imperfections, on the errors that you've made, right? So I want to remind you, it is important for you to be open to having this conversation with yourself. Okay, so openly journal about it. Okay, as I kind of go through this a little bit more, you'll kind of have an understanding of what exactly to journal about. But I just wanted to put a pin in that and say, be willing to go there with yourself. Okay. Now, the truth is liberating. The truth is liberating, even when it is not pleasant. Okay. Especially when it does identify an error in your current thinking. So, like I said earlier, I am a victim of comparison, and I had to look at myself and ask the question: if you feel someone is better than you, then who do you think you're better than? Let me say that again. If you feel someone is better than you, then who do you think you are better than? Tough question, right? I know. It was tough for me too. So again, journal about that question. Obviously, logic and common sense tells us that we are above no one, but subconsciously, we make sure that we are outperforming someone in some area to make sure we are at least being slash doing slash are better than so and so, than someone else. So I began to realize, so this thought process, I began to realize like, man, what is it like? What's the process of actually like when I compare myself to someone who I feel is like in a better spot than I am? What is the process that I kind of go through to identify that person? So the comparison process in my own life it goes a little like this. Okay. So first, I identify someone who I deem better than me in one thing or another, whether that's at work, whether that's in life, and as a wife, like whatever. Like you identify someone and you say, okay, well, they're better. Okay. Now, and this is just a side note. So now you have a measuring stick. Okay. Now you have a measuring stick, and notice that this measuring stick is not based on anything concrete or factual. Okay. It is only based on observations and your interpretation of those observations. So basically, it's 100% baseless. Okay. It wouldn't stand in court, basically. And I'm giggling and chuckling about this because it is. I laugh when something is revealing to me, because it's like, oh, it makes so much sense now, and I can't believe I've been doing this for so long. Okay, so that's why I chuckle a little bit at this. So anyway, after I get my measuring stick, after I identify this person, I set my eyes to exceed or surpass this person in whatever area I've deemed that they're better than me in. Okay. So this looks like setting goals based around our idea of success. Success that is based on a measuring stick that is based on observation and nothing else, and your perspective. So you have this measuring stick. You've identified this person that you want to do better than, or that you at least want to be like. Okay, so you set that as your measuring stick. But here's the thing, guys: the measuring stick is not even based on anything. There's nothing concrete about it. So when you set this goal to be like this person or surpass this person, that's not based. Like, sure, you're progressing, and like you're progressing towards what you think is success. But this idea of success isn't based on anything. It's not based on anything concrete. And I hope you guys are following me on that. Okay, I hope you get that, because that's very important. That is key. We constantly compare ourselves to someone based off what we see. But guys, there's so much more. But it's like an ice glacier. Like, you can see the surface, but there's so much more beneath it, that if you were to explore the depths of it, you will realize that, okay, this is nothing what I expected. Okay. So you're striving for this goal. So now that you've set this goal based off this measuring stick that's based on nothing, so now you're striving for it, and you're striving for the goal with determination and grit. And determination and grit is something that anybody looking onto you while you're doing this would admire. They would admire this characteristic about you, right? Which is very admirable. Like, those are things that you need in life in order to get to where you want to go. So now my determination and grit, it gets me to my goal, right? So now I have successfully reached my goal. I have risen above and surpassed this person in whatever area it is. Now what? You've passed this person. Now what? I'll tell you what. Now you identify somebody else that is somewhere you want to be, okay? And the process repeats itself, okay? The cycle never ends. Now, don't get me wrong. It's great that you are growing and striving, but here's the problem. Your goals are based on someone else's and not on your purpose and on your own individual destiny, okay? The only thing you are really achieving is passing someone. That's it. You've passed someone in some area, okay? Now, this isn't easy for me because I am a very competitive person, but this explains so much. This explains why we may have all of our, like we may have all the outward success, like in our career and in our business and parenting, whatever it may be, but feel unfulfilled and dissatisfied. Guys, if your measuring stick is anything except your God-given purpose, my friends, you will be unfulfilled, unhappy, dissatisfied, stressed, depressed, and the list continues. You have to identify your purpose. Otherwise, you're running on a hamster wheel, getting nowhere. Okay? And that's the message that I wanted to leave you guys with today. And I want you to journal about that this week. Okay? And I hope that it's revealing, and I hope, like any truth is, that is liberating. Okay? I love you. And as always, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, please reach out to me, supremebysarahpearl@gmail.com, or send me a personal message on any of my social media channels. I love you guys, and we'll talk soon. Bye.